Hey guys, all right, so we're moving on to a new unit today. We're going to be going over Unit 7 now. Unit 7 is over transformations. Okay, transformations. Transformations are ways that we move shapes. We're moving into kind of more geometry now. So this right here is the vocabulary that you're going to need for this unit. You need to pause the video, you can take a picture of it, whatever, but go ahead and pause it and make sure that this vocabulary ends up in Unit 7 of your e-binder. Okay, very important that you get this vocabulary there. This will be on your e-binder test in a few weeks, things like that. So just make sure that you have this vocabulary. So go ahead and pause the video and get that now. Moving on. Okay, I shared a copy of the notes for today that looks like this with you. Okay, so go ahead and open up that copy of those notes and we're going to go over them. So there are three types of transformations. Okay, three types of transformations. We're going to talk about them one at a time. Really, I guess there are four types, but we're going to look at the first three types, and then we're going to handle the fourth type, which is dilations, in a different way when we get back from Thanksgiving. But the first three types we're going to look at, type number one is a translation. Okay, now translations are a slide. Okay, translation slide. Okay, there's a way for you to remember this. Okay, a translation slide right there. So if you picture like the slide, okay, starts with SL, translation has that SL. So you can remember that a translation is a slide, not a flip or a turn. And that means to move one or more directions, and it always has to be a straight line. Okay, so you're not flipping, you're not changing the size of the shape at all. You're just moving it in a straight line, one direction or another. So go ahead and put in one of these shapes that's going to represent that. Okay, the way that you need to do this is you need to click above it and then drag to highlight the entire little flower there. And you can put it, whichever one you're going to use, you can put it wherever it needs to go. Just so you have an example of that. You could put it there, and that would be one way to do it. You could also have put it down here. That would have just been another way to still translate things. Okay, and with these A's, I'm going to do this in the other direction. You can translate either way. You could put it there, or you could even put it down here if you wanted to. Any of those are still translations. To get it down here, you would go down and over, or over and down. Here you'd obviously go down. Here you would go from side to side. Moving on to transformation number two. Transformation number two is one that you should be much more familiar with. Many of you see it every day. It is a reflection. Okay, a reflection is a flip. Okay, again, the FL, fl, and then flip here. It is a mirror image, and it means to reflect over the x-axis or the y-axis. So a reflection right here, if we reflect it over the or this one asks for a reflection across the x-axis. Okay, so if it reflects across the x-axis, this is our x-axis. So if we have a mirror down here on the bottom of this triangle, then when it flips down, it's going to end up down here in this quadrant on the bottom left, which means we're going to need a triangle that looks like this in order to have a reflection down there. And notice it needs to be the same amount of space above the line or below the line as the original one was above the line. So that's how a reflection works. Okay, right here, a reflection across the y-axis is going to completely flip our E upside down or backwards here. It's going to make it look real funny. and our E is now going to go something like that. Those are examples of a reflection. Now, the third and final example of a transformation is called a rotation. Okay, those are our three types. A rotation is a turn around a center point. Turn around a center point. Okay, you can stand in one place and you can flip, you can spin your phone around your fingers, whatever. Okay, it is a rotation. Rotation is when something moves like the hands on a clock. The hands on a clock have a definite center point and they rotate around that. There are a couple other things with rotations down here at the bottom. We'll get to those in just a second. But the one on the left here, if we were going to rotate it, if you're going to rotate this shape, you would take this one right here and you just rotate it. So it could go there is one option for it to go. If you hit Control D, it will rotate, it will duplicate that for you. You can rotate it again. Rotating things on a computer is very easy, a lot easier than doing it in real life, but it still gives you a good way to visualize a rotation. And then with this F, when we rotate him, if we rotate him, this is all clockwise rotations, clockwise this way. He's basically going to fall on his face here is how that's going to turn out. So this guy's going to come here and we're going to rotate him. Boom. We can use this one. Boom. And then the last one going to end up looking like this. That's what your rotation examples should look like. And then down here at the bottom, we've got a couple of things to look at. Okay, you just heard me use one of these words, clockwise. Clockwise means it's going the same direction as a clock goes. 12 would be here, 3, 6, 9. It rotates to the right if you're looking at it on the paper. Okay, the opposite of that is counterclockwise. Counterclockwise, that means it's going left, it's going counter or backwards to what a clock would usually do. Okay, and lastly are the degrees. This is basically if we're starting straight up at 12 o'clock, if this right here, this little degree thing in the bottom right corner, if you're starting like at 12 o'clock and you'd rotate 90 degrees, that would put you over here at 3 o'clock. That would be a 90-degree rotation. If you rotate 90 more degrees, or if you rotate kind of one more click there and make it 2 clicks, then that would be 180 degrees. Notice it's going the straight opposite direction it was to start with. Then if you go 90 more degrees, that gets you to a 270-degree rotation. It would put you at 9 o'clock over there. And then if you do a 360, that simply gets you right back where you started. So if you ever hear someone say they're going to turn their life around 360 degrees, it's not how it works. You want to do a complete 180 on your life in order to go the opposite direction. So anyways, that's just some quick notes about transformations. Okay, I shared a couple of things with you on in your e-binder on the slideshow that y'all have that you need to make sure not to delete. Shared a couple of things with you there. One is just this copy of a coordinate grid. Okay, notice you're going to have a quiz in a few weeks, and I'm going to give you a blank coordinate grid and expect you to be able to fill it out, the entire thing, from the title to the origin to the little pluses and minuses underneath. It's going to be very important that we can just spout these out. So we're going to take a quiz over, and when we get back from Thanksgiving, probably, maybe the week after that, somewhere in there, we're going to take a quiz over them. Your quadrants are numbered with Roman numerals, and they go counterclockwise. The one that we do most of our stuff in, the top right, is quadrant 1. Then it goes counterclockwise all the way down to the bottom right quadrant, being quadrant 4. Okay, these pluses and minuses underneath them are just referring to the X and Y. So like for quadrant 1, your X and your Y are both going to be positive. For quadrant 2, your X is negative, your Y is positive. Quadrant 3, your X and your Y are both negative always. And then quadrant 4, your X is always positive, your Y is always negative. And then the last thing is just a little sheet that I've always found helpful, that classes in the past have found helpful. Just a little picture of it so that you can refer to that as necessary. It's got some pretty good information on it for some of the worksheets you're going to do and things like that. So those resources are available to you, as well as your notes and that vocabulary. If I can do anything to help you guys out, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. Hope you have a great day.